now we are going to convert this functional base to class base. So first we are going to import the component here. And then we are going to change this to class. And then we delete this one and use extends component. After that, we are not going to use the useState because this is not a functional component. We are going to use the constructor. Now we put the super props, and then we put all the state inside the this.state. Now we have the cards, so we use the cards, and then we copy this away and put it here. And also we add the show card. And the initial value is true. Now we do not have the constant here. Instead, we are going to use this.setState. And we have show card. And this.state.show card. Also, we cannot say cards only. We need to set this.state.cards, and I think we can delete these two. Also, we have to use this.setState and then cards and then cards copy. We should add a bracket here. Now we can delete this one. Again, these do not have constant. We can change this. We can copy this one and paste it here. All these lines need to put inside the render functions. So we add the render functions here. And the return also need to put inside the render function. We cut this out and paste inside the render function. Now it said the class is not defined in 77. Yes, because we do not have class, we have this.state.cards. And also we do not have the toggle show card. We have this.toggle show card. And at the 70, these two also need to add this dot. this.state.show card, and also we have to use this.state.cards. I think we should good to go, and I think we also need to copy this function to the other button. Now we can take a look to see whether it can work well. And let's refresh this. If we delete, it already changed color. It already changed color again when only have one card. Let's try to type some word. It also can change the name. So this is fine. And in the next part, we are going to change the card also. In this part, we are going to change the card component from functional base to class base. So the first thing is we are going to import the component. Also, we are going to use the class card and also extend component. And then we will create a render function. Like before, we are going to copy and paste the return functions to the render functions. And also we can delete this console.log. Now we also do not have the arrow functions. And as you can see, we do not have the props. Instead, we have the this.props. So we copy all this. We add this to all the props and click save. And now we can check the website. As you can see, we can toggle the cards, and also we can delete the cards and make the buttons color change. And when we delete one more, the text will become bold and the color will become red, and we can still toggle the card. So everything works fine even we change to card-based component. React Lifecycle has 3 categories: mounting, updating, and unmounting. Mounting is the birth of the component, and update is the growth of the component, and unmount is the death of the component. And in this part, we are going to talk about more in this mounting category. And first, we are going to talk about constructor. In the constructor, we add the console.log app.js constructor. In the constructor, you should not call the set state. Instead, if your component needs to use local state, assign the initial state to this state directly in this constructor. And the constructor is the only place that you can assign this .state directly. And in other methods, you should use the this.setState. Do not do any side effect or subscriptions in the constructor. If you really need to do this, you have to use the component did_mount instead. And in the next part, we are going to talk about get derived state from props. So under here, we create a new method. In order to get something pop out here, we have to go to the index.js and let's create a title and just set app title. The get derived state from props exists only one purpose, and this is not a very common React Lifecycle method. It enables the component to update its internal state as the result of changes in props. It usually used in something like scroll direction based on the changing offset props. So it is rarely used this method. And in the next method is the render method. So we go to the render method and we console.log. React requires that you have to make the render method pure, because the pure functions are those do not have any side effects like making some HTTP requests and always have the same output when the same inputs are passed. That means you cannot use setState within this method. And at last, we are going to talk about the component did_mount. And so we add it here. The component did_mount is invoked immediately after a component is mounted. If you need to load data from a remote endpoint, this is a very good place to make some HTTP requests. This method is good to set up any subscription, but if you do that, don't forget to unsubscribe with the component will unmount method that we will talk about later. And also, we go to the card.js. And we also want to see the card rendering. Now as you can see, the app.js constructor run first, and then it will get the get derived state from props. And then the app.js start to render, and the card also render 3 times. And at last, we will call the app.js component did_mount method. You will see there are something very weird because it seems all run double. For example, it should be only one time, but it runs twice, and it should be 3 times because we only have 3 cards. This is because in the recent version, rendering use strict mode when running in development. So strict method intentionally double calls the constructor and render methods to better detect the unexpected side effect. So if we want to make a real one, we have to use a production build of React. So how can we do that? And actually, please be aware that there is a React development tools. So every time you see the color is red, this is inside, this is in the development build. So this is not a production build. If we really want to create a production build, we have to run npm run build, and then the production build of the React can be found in here. Now you will see the color of this icon become blue rather than the before is red. So let's take a look on the console. Now you can see the constructor only one time, and other also only one time. Only the card has 3 times because there is 3 cards. So you can see it also follow the order of the constructor, get derived state from pops, and then we go to the render 3 cards, and then at last is the component did mount. So this is the mounting life cycles of React. In this part, we are going to talking about the React life cycle, which is updating. So it is the middle one. The first step is the get derived state from pops that we already explained in the previous lecture. So we can add this function to here. And the next part is the should component update. The should component update is to let the React know that if a component output is not affected by the current change in state or pops. Of course, the default behavior is to re-render. On every state change. This method is invoked before rendering when new pops or states are being received, and the default value should be true. This method is rarely used. It only exists as a performance optimization, so do not rely it on prevent rendering, and this may cause a bugs. Now we are going to add this method, and we set the default value to be true first, and then we go to this render method, and which we already explained in the previous lecture too. So now we can go to the next step is the get snapshot before update. This get snapshot before update is a new lifecycle method introduced in React. Any value returned by this lifecycle will be passed as a parameter to component did update, and this is not very common. This method is used to handle some cases such as the scope position in a special way. Now we are going to add this method, and we are going to return some snapshot here, and to see whether it will also display it in the component did update method. So in the last thing is the component did update that we just said. This life cycle method is invoked as soon as the updating happens. The most common use case for the component did update is to update the DOM in response to the pops or state change. This is also a good place to do some HTTP requests as long as you compare with the current pops to the previous pops. You can also set state here, but remember to check for the state or pop change for the previous state. The incorrect use of set state can lead to an infinite loop. So now we add the component did update, and we are also testing whether it will display the snapshot. This is the snapshot that we expect to display it in the component did update. Now we are going to try to build a web, so npm run build. Now as you can see, this is the production build, and you can see this is the original creation lifecycle, which is the constructor first, and then the get derived state of FJS, and then it start rendering the FJS, and by rendering the 3 cards, and it will end with the FJS component did mount. And as you can see there is no component did update here because we haven't updated any changes in the card. So let's try to type some word to make some changes. Maybe we type 1, and then you can see there is should component update here, and there is only one card change. So there is only one should component update displayed here. And as you can see, the snapshot already passed to the component did update. And there is last thing that we haven't tried is to change this to false. Now we try to build again. Now after we refresh the page and we try to update, because we already set the should component update is false, so you can see even we type this can't be updated. So this is how the should component update work, and also how the React lifecycle of updating. The last part of the React lifecycle is unmounting. This lifecycle method is called just before component is unmounted and destroyed. This is a right place to do cleanup in this method, such as canceling the network request or cleaning any subscription that were created in component did mount. And let's go to the card.js, and now we are going to add the component will unmount method. In order to let this log appear, so we have to make some method such that this component will unmount. So we back to the app.js, then go to the render method, and we said that if the state of the show card is equal to false, and then this will return nothing. So the following will disappear. So all the cards will also unmount. So let's have a try. Now what you will see is when we click the toggle button, all the cards will disappear, and even these two buttons will also disappear, so that all the cards will unmount. And you can see it already changed to the div of nothing. You can see on the right hand side there are 3 cards, so that the card.js component will unmount, and this is because we add this function here. In the cards component we have lifecycle methods. To perform an action in specific lifecycle stage of our components, the useEffect hooks allow us to perform side effect in our functional component. So first we have to import the useEffect from React. And then inside the app, we can add the useEffect, and we can delete all these sentences. And then we just create a function alert app.js useEffect. So let's have a look, and we can see the app.js useEffect alert is here. And no matter we type or delete the card, or even we toggle the card, it also shows the alert here. So what can we do if we just want to alert once only when the website is opened? We just need to add the square bracket here. And now you can see this have the alert. But when we delete the card, or even we toggle the show hide cards, it will not show the alert. So this is how we can perform the equivalent of component did mount using the useEffect hooks. But how about if we just want to watch the card changes? This time we are passing one array of dependency as the second parameter, and inside the array we should pass the dependency that we want to watch. For example, we just said that we want to watch the cards, so we have to add the cards here. But you see there is some warning because cards was used before it was defined, so we have to move this block of code under the cards. So now you can see the alert here at once. It will not show the alert when we toggle show hide button, but if we make some changes on the cards, such as add some words and change the name, it will show the alert because there is some changes on the cards. or if we delete the cards, it also alerts because it already delete one of the data here and make some changes of the cards. So it will also alert the app.js useEffect. In this part, we are going to demonstrate the cleanup effect. And because we don't want this alert affect the result, so we are going to delete this useEffect in the app.js. And so we do not need the useEffect in the app.js. So we back to the card.js. We are going to create the useEffect here to show the cleanup effect. Okay, in this part, we are going to record the mouse movement. So we have to use the useState to record the x, y coordinate. And of course, we need the useEffect. And then we are going to use the useState to set x and also set y. And then we need a function to record the mouse movement. So we see whether there is an event. If the mouse move, it will record the x. So we set the x coordinate and also set the y coordinate. In order to show there is mouse moving, so we are going to add the console log mouse event here. So every time when the mouse moves, the log will appear. And now we are going to use the useEffect here. And we are going to listen the mouse movement. So we can take a look on the website. So you can see the mouse moving and the log is here. And we forgot to add the XY coordinate on the card so we can see the result. So inside the card, we add these two paragraphs to show the X position and also the Y position. So now when we're moving, the XY position will appear on the card. So what will happen when we hide the card? You will see it will show the error that we cannot perform ReactState update on unmounted components. And so to fix this, we have to do the cleanup work inside the useEffect. So now we have to do some cleanup work in order to prevent this warning. And because it also indicates there is a memory leak in our application. So we go to here, and in the cleanup, we are going to load the card.js cleanup and also add the remove listener. And now we can try again. Now it still shows the XY positions, and when we toggle the card, it will not keep record the mouse event. You can see the card cleanup already appear on the log. So this is how the cleanup works inside the useEffect.